In part 1 of this board game series, I ranked the 2-player experience for these 15 games in this tier list with a homebody twist. Today, I'm bringing out 10 more games from our collection. Let's get started. Up first, we have Catan Starfarers Duel. This is a 2-player card game where you and your opponent control your own starships, which come with these dials that let you track your own resources, and it's such a simple but cool mechanism as opposed to just collecting resource cubes. You learn the game by going through 5 training missions, and by the end, you realize that the mechanics of the game is fairly intuitive, and even after not playing it for a whole year, we still managed to get into it within 10 minutes. So, you and your opponent both have access to 4 different space sectors to explore. How it works is you roll the orange die and add that to the number of boosters you have, and that determines your flight speed, aka how many cards you are allowed to open in one of the chosen space sectors. The unique point for me in this game is that your opponent is the one opening the cards for you, and somehow this small level of interaction makes you feel like you're actually playing the game together. While exploring, you have the option to buy and sell resources, fly to distant planets to complete missions for victory points, fly a shuttle to find colonies, and even attack and defend against space pirates. Similar to the other 2-player Rivals for Catan game I introduced in part 1, this game was a solid weekend goal for us for a long time due to the theme and the ease of play, so I would highly recommend it if you're a fan of the Catan universe. However, it became quite repetitive, and for us there was basically one strategy that you would follow to win the game as quickly as possible. As such, we rarely reach for it now, so I'm going to place it into the occasional house guest tier right beside Rivals for Catan. Up next, we have Spirit Island. Spirit Island is a cooperative game where you take on the role of magical spirits who work together with the Djinn, symbolized by these adorable wooden mushrooms, to defend your island home from colonizing invaders. Each spirit has its own unique elemental powers and set of power cards. You play power cards by spending energy, and they are differentiated by fast or slow powers. Fast powers take effect immediately, while slow powers require some planning to use effectively because they activate after the invaders have taken their turn to ravage, build, and explore. At the same time, you can also collect elements in order to play your spirit's innate powers for bonus effects. Overall, the game is pretty complex, and honestly, you'll probably hate it the first 2 times you play it because I absolutely did. But then something just clicks and you start to appreciate the immense depth of the game, the endless replayability, and how it challenges you to think 3 steps ahead. This game is a newer addition to our collection, but within our first week of opening it, we were playing it multiple times a day. That's just how addictive it is, so it's definitely going up there on the weekend goals tier. On a very similar theme but on a much smaller scale, we have Living Forest. In Living Forest, you play as one of the 4 nature spirits, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, to protect your woodland home against the devastating flames of Onibi. Unlike Spirit Island, where you work together, this is a competitive game where you want to become the legendary spirit who saved the forest. There's a little bit of luck involved as you draw guardian animals from your pile to help provide elements needed to take actions. These actions include attracting other guardian animals to your group, planting protective trees, extinguishing fires, moving forward on the circle of spirits, and collecting sacred flowers. What I personally appreciate about this game is the game materials. They're mostly made of sturdy cardboard, and I like how you can build this tree dispenser that, very importantly, can be kept in the game box after you finish the game. I think this game is the perfect example of a cozy game that is great for people who are new to board games. It uses fairly simple mechanisms, so it's very easy to learn, and there's a little bit of gambling involved, which make it fun, but overall it's still a low-stakes, family-friendly game. Next up, we have Jaipur Europe. This is published by Keymaster Games, the same publisher of Parks, which I talked about being the most beautiful game ever made, and I've since learned that Keymaster Games just make incredibly aesthetically pleasing games. Every detail is so well thought out, from the packaging to the game box materials to the little wooden tokens and beautiful illustrations of the cards. In Jaipur, you and your opponent are rival criminal networks recruiting thieves and equipping them with gear to pull off heists at iconic European landmarks. This is quite a fast-paced game that has only 6 rounds with very straightforward mechanics. Each card you draft can either boost your thief's abilities, gain you money, help you steal an artifact, or move location control markers back and forth in a tug of war. And because you're handing over your hand of cards over to your opponent after taking one, there's another layer of hate drafting, aka whether to take the card that helps you the most or the one that completely ruins your partner's plan. Personally, the game is lacking when it's time for scoring. We can't pinpoint exactly what it is, but there's just something missing and probably why we hardly reach for it. So I'm leaving this in the occasional house guest tier. Following that is another 2-player game, Jaipur. In Jaipur, you and your opponent are rival merchants trying to become the most powerful trader in the city and earn the Maharaja's seals of excellence. It's easy to learn, quick to set up, and offers a fast-paced blend of tactics, risk, and luck. On your turn, you choose to either take or sell cards. If you take multiple goods, you have to trade them with the cards from your own hand or your herd of camels. If you sell, you can only sell one type of good at a time to earn market chips. The value of those chips decrease as the pile goes down, so there's a constant dilemma. Do you sell early to grab the highest value chips, or do you hold out to sell a larger batch in hopes of a big bonus token? We've owned this game forever, and I strangely find myself reaching for it whenever I'm feeling low and just want a simple, comforting game to cheer me up. It's basically like comfort food, so I think it's highly appropriate to put it into the rainy day staples tier. Up next, we have Fit to Print. You're an editor at one of the local newspapers of Thistleveil, the world's most bustling little town with too many stories to tell. Don't let the cozy aesthetic fool you, this game is more of a frantic brain puzzle than a peaceful walk in the park. The game takes place over 3 rounds representing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday editions, which is also reflected in the growing size of your newspaper boards. In each round, you play simultaneously over 2 phases. In the first reporting phase, players use just one hand to pick up a tile, flip it onto their 3D desks, and decide whether to keep it or put it back. Once you've committed to keeping a tile on your desk, you're no longer allowed to return it to the pile. As soon as you think you have enough content, you shout layout and enter the second phase. In the layout phase, you get to use both hands to arrange the tiles on your newspaper board. Here, you're trying to manage a dozen rules at once, matching photos with adjacent articles, balancing the overall mood of your stories, generating enough ad revenue, and making sure that no tiles of the same color or type are touching. According to the rules, you play both phases within 3, 4, or 5 minutes, which is where the panic usually comes in. But honestly, the game feels stressful and frantic even without a timer. We would know.
Oh, the frick.
Oh, I'm so stressed. This game stresses me out like crazy. That took 9 minutes.
What are you talking?
I'm putting Fit to Print into our lowest tier just because it gives me crazy deadline anxiety, which is very contradicting to the cozy woodland aesthetic that I was drawn to in the first place. But if you're looking for a surge of adrenaline mixed into a puzzle game, this one might be right up in your alley. Moving on to something way more chill, we have Cities. Like the name suggests, you're building your own miniature metropolis by constructing buildings, parks, and waterfront attractions. In a 2-player game, you each get 8 workers that you use to claim 2 spots per row on the game board. You can place city tiles adjacent to any existing ones you already have, buildings on the same colored square, and attractions in park or water zones. You earn points through the scoring cards that you draft, and there are also 8 different real-world cities with unique achievements that you can swap in to mix up the scoring, which adds to the replayability. The shorter 2-player version is played over 4 rounds, ending once you and your partner have built a complete 3x3 city grid. Unlike Fit to Print, this game feels like a gentle mini puzzle with virtually zero stress, which by now you would know is what I personally enjoy. The tactile feel of placing those little 3D buildings onto your board adds so much to that peaceful sensation, and the illustrations on the board are highly appreciated. Because it's so easy and breezy, Cities goes straight into our rainy day staples tier. Up next, we have Djinn. In Djinn, you play as apprentices of the Magic Guild who are tasked to capture and bottle up mischievous djinns. There are 7 different types of action spaces for you to gain resources, equipment, and recruit mages to help you do so. What I appreciate most about this game is that every single component is so detailed, like how both the front and back of the tokens and cards are completely covered. There's nothing that irks me more than a blank backside. Mechanically, it's a light to medium Euro game that plays in under an hour for 2 players. What we love about the core gameplay is that it never feels punishing. Instead, it's all about exploring, collecting resources, and gathering points. In fact, we tend to stretch out the ending of the game just so that we can continue exploring. There's a lot of variation you can add to increase replayability, like mixing up secret passages, trophy tokens, the action spaces on the maps, and even different positive and negative effects to balance out the game. Some might even say that there are too many elements. We actually choose not to focus on the extra scoring cards and just accidentally score those extra points at the end. I would actually label Djinn as a cozy game, just with a dark academia theme and style of illustrations. It's a firm rainy day staple for us. Up next, we have The White Castle. If you grew up watching Asian period dramas, you're really going to appreciate this one. The game transports you back to 1761 Japan, where you play as a clan leader aiming to insert as many of your clan members as possible into key positions throughout the castle, including gardeners, military guards, and courtesans. The White Castle is modeled after the iconic real-life Himeji Castle and is filled with beautiful Japanese cultural details like traditional bridges, herons, and the Shachihoko, legendary mythical sea monsters seen guarding the castles. Mechanically, it's a dice drafting game. On your turn, you take a die from one end of the bridge and place it onto one of 11 action spaces across the main board or your personal player board. This grants you resources or lets you send your clan members into the castle, or both, depending on how well you plan to hit. The catch is, the game takes place just over 3 rounds with 3 turns per round. That means in one game you get only 9 turns to execute your strategy and set up massive multi-step chain reactions. If you love a brain teaser without any direct conflict, this game is for you. It's going up on our rainy day staples tier. Last but not least, we have Blokus. And no, this is not a joke. In fact, this classic game with its colorful Tetris-shaped pieces has been my latest obsession. Somehow, we've never played it in our many years of existence until recently. With 2 players, you control 2 colors each and take turns to fill the board with as many of your tiles as possible. There's just one rule in Blokus: at least one corner has to touch, but no adjacent tiles are allowed. It's a very simple game with a tactical depth to it. You're constantly trying to balance being offensive versus defensive and deciding when to burn your tricky 5-block tiles while saving your 1 and 2 block pieces for squeezing your way out in the later parts of the game. Blokus is a game that I'll break out without a second thought when I want something quick and easy to play, so into the rainy day staples it goes. And that rounds up another 10 games in our humble board game collection. A big shout out and thank you to my channel members who make it possible for me to invest time and effort into passion projects like this board game series. A new secret vlog with behind the scenes of this video is now live. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.